And welcome curling fans from around the world. It's the gold medal match of the mixed doubles curling event here at the Audi Quattro Winter Games New Zealand 2015. And you're joining us here in the center of the universe, beautiful Naseby in central Otago. It's a spectacular part of this amazing country of New Zealand. Well, 12 teams started out and now just 2 remain. It's an epic North American final. Canada 1 versus the USA. This should be a fantastic battle. There we see Charlie Thomas, the Canadian male, Kaylin Park. They're on a bit of a roll now. And there at the left of our screen, we see Sarah Anderson and Corey Dropkin, Team USA. Both teams had quite different semifinals this morning. In our feature match earlier on today, we saw the USA kind of cruise to a 10-3 victory over Finland. We saw some spectacular shots from Sarah Anderson in that game. The Canadian team took a different path. They really struggled through the round robin phase of the tournament, but they've really gained some momentum. They were life and death in a tiebreaker game against New Zealand yesterday, but they won that. And now they seem to be on a bit of a roll. They beat Japan with a big, strong late finish in their match earlier on this morning. So it's mixed doubles curling. It's the newest Winter Olympic discipline. Mixed doubles has been officially added to the Winter Olympic program for Pyeongchang 2018. So there's something extra on the line. There we see that this Canadian team is indeed the current Team Canada. They competed at the World Mixed Doubles Championships in Sochi, Russia this past April and finished a very creditable 4th. And this American team is also very highly ranked. They competed at the same championships and they finished 6th. So we've really got the best of the best here in Naseby for this competition. And for curling fans in North America, I think you're in for a treat. We've got some of the best players in the world here in New Zealand for the Audi Quattro Winter Games gold medal final. Teams just taking their practice slides prior to the game. And for curling fans, we've got an extra treat for you here as well, because Winter Games New Zealand has been selected as an official trial event for some proposed innovative new rule changes for mixed doubles curling. And those proposed rules changes are being trialed here at this event. I've been talking to a lot of the players and they're very positive about some of these proposed changes, and we will point them out to you as the contest begins. Canada won the last shot draw prior to the game to earn last rock advantage for this first end. So it'll be Sarah Anderson from Team USA leading us off. Canada with the hammer on end number 1. 8 ends to play in this final, and it's all on the line. Going for gold here at the Audi Quattro Winter Games New Zealand. First shot of the game. It's an in-turn draw. For those of you new to mixed doubles, we'll explain some of the rules as we said. We see the 2 stones. Those are stationary stones that are placed in that position at the start of every end. Each team has 5 shots to play. One player throws the 1st and 5th shot, and the other player throws the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th shot. So the maximum possible score in any end is 6, and 8 ends are played. So Sarah Anderson a little light there with that draw. I think she would have liked to come into the 4-foot, but it sits at the top of the ring, so an immediate chance here for Team Canada to take advantage of that last rock. Kaylin Park is going to be asked to draw around the center guard into the top of that red 4-foot circle. There we see Charlie Thomas, her partner. Charlie's had considerable success at international level. He's a 2-time World Junior Curling Champion. But doubles is a format of the game that really does favor the young and the athletic. And even though Charlie and Kaylin are both only 26, they would be the veterans on the ice. Corey and Sarah are both just 20. So Kaylin on the attempted draw into the rings at the tee line. A little heavier than she'd like, but Canada lies 2. There we see Kaylin Park, her father Kevin, a well-known Canadian competitive curler. And I'm sure he and many other Canadian curling fans are joining, as there are curling fans from America. We've been really happy to get your feedback on the online web stream here at the Audi Quattro Winter Games. And we know there's a lot of fans following this on both sides of the 49th parallel in North America, as well as in other places all around the world. We're really glad that you're with us. Here's Corey Tropkin playing the out turn. He'd like to freeze his stone in front of those two Canadian stones that are in the rings and try to neutralize the advantage that the Canadians enjoy right now. Not laying a brush to it yet, so that might be traveling a little more quickly than he'd like. Wanting it to slow down, wants it to freeze in front. A little bit heavy and a half bump, so Canada's lying one, but that stone is, or US is lying one rather. But that's very available to the Canadians. There we see Sarah and Corey talking about their options. So first end of play, and this is building up very nicely for Team Canada. There we see the yellow stone belonging to the Americans, closest to the middle. If you're new to curling, the way that you score points when all the shots are played, whoever's team's stone is closest to the middle, they get a point, and you get additional points for everyone that you've got closer than your opponents. So Charlie Thomas now will be playing the out turn. He'll be trying to just push that yellow stone back and roll his stone across behind the guards. Delicate shot, but a good opportunity here for Canada. And we see Charlie communicating the weight to Kalen so they can read the line properly. Will he push the shot rock back? Comes to rest, just pushes it back a couple of inches. So that's a pretty good shot for Charlie. I'm a bit surprised that they didn't try to move the American stone deeper in the house. But things are still looking very good for Canada here and very dangerous for Team USA. Remember, Canada is playing the blue stones and they have last rock in this end. Team USA is playing the yellow stones. And right now, if we look at it, we see the blue Canadian stones in first, second, and fourth shot position right now. So the pressure's really on Corey Dropkin. He needs to make a big shot here to really reduce the possibility of the Canadians getting off to a flyer here in the first. Playing the out turn. I think Corey likes the weight on this shot a little bit better than his first one. He needs to get by that guard. He's well by the guard. Now it's a question of the weight. Just trying to nestle one in there, and it gets a little roll behind the center. That's a pretty nice shot there by Corey. But we can see that the way the rocks are angled, and Charlie immediately says, I think I can jump off our own shot and remove the American stone. We can see Kalen brushing the path. So sometimes in curling, you deliberately use your own stone as a kind of launching pad. So for those new to curling, you'd say, why do you want to try and hit your own rock? Well, if the Canadians hit their own rock on the inside, they'll remove both American stones and lie 4. Big weight here from Thomas. Looking for contact just on the inside of that blue stone. Will he make it? 1, 2, push it aside, and Canada lies 4. Great shot from Charlie Thomas. So real difficulty now for Team USA. Terrific shot from Charlie Thomas. There we see Kalen and Charlie. Charlie can really throw that big, accurate weight, and that can be a real weapon when you need to get yourself out of some trouble. And we saw a great example of it right there. So now if you're Team USA, now it's all about damage limitation. As it stands right now, there's the possibility that your opponent could score 3, 4, and that would be very, very bad for Team USA. So they're not really thinking about stealing the end anymore, but they are thinking about how do we reduce the damage. They'd be quite happy to give Canada 1. They'd probably be pretty happy to give Canada 2, but they sure don't want to drop 4 or 5. Again, playing down weight, not electing to take out these stones, just trying to reposition them. Pushes one of the Canadian stones to the back of the house, but still giving Canada a pretty good opportunity to score a bundle. Remember, each team has 5 stones to play in the end. So for Canada, this is shot number 4, the final stone for Charlie Thomas in this end. Another interesting thing about doubles is that there is no set playing position. The teams, if they choose to, can change end to end. The player that throws the 1 and 5 rock and the player that throws 2, 3, and 4. Not many teams do make that change. And Team Canada has Kaylin Park throwing rocks 1, 5 and Charlie Thomas throwing rocks 2, 3, 4. All about the weight and the angles here. Just trying to feather this yellow American stone and roll behind the center guard himself. Pushes it, rolls to the top of the button, and Canada lies 2. Maybe lying 3. So a huge decision now for the young American team. How do we get out of jail? We can see by their brush positioning, it's looking to me like they'd like to play what we call an in-off. So Sarah Anderson will just try to hit thinly the inside of her own yellow stone, rolling it to the inside and on top of that Canadian stone that's right on the center button. Very difficult shot. So we see another example of a team looking to use their own stone as a launch pad. We saw Sarah make some incredible shots earlier today in the semifinal. And right here in the first end, she's being called on to do the same. Looking to get America out of trouble. Playing an in-off against a pile of Canadian granite. Needs to be on the inside of the yellow stone. Doesn't do that, but she squirts her own and pushes the Canadian shot back. Looks to me like Canada is lying 1 and very close for second shot. And the challenge now for Team Canada is, how do we remove that American stone? If they can do it, they could score 3 or 4. There we see Kaylin Park eyeing it up. So we see the advantage of the hammer or last rock. Canada with a great opportunity here to leave the starting gate in the best possible way. A challenging shot here for Kaylin Park. She's going to try and squeeze between those 2 stones right where we see the brush positioned and strike the American stone and push it out of play. Very, very precise shot, but an opportunity here for Canada to score 3 and maybe 4. Last shot. Will she navigate between the rocks? Makes contact on the top, pops out the rock, and Canada scores 2. So maybe not the 3 or 4 that they were looking for, but a 2-point start regardless for Team Canada. I think Kaylin's first choice would have been to get between those 2 stones and hit the American stone directly, but the way they were set up, she got away with it. She slightly hit a glancing blow off her own stone, redirected, and Canada scores 2. So we're underway in the mixed doubles final here at the Audi Quattro Winter Games 2015. Canada versus USA, North American final, and Canada is off to a 2-0 advantage. So curling fans, if the other 7 ends of this game were anything like the first end, you're in for a real treat. You're seeing some Really good shot making and lots of rocks in play. That's really what mixed doubles curling is all about. So this should be an outstanding final. We'll keep you up to date with the status of our bronze medal match as well. Finland is playing Japan for the bronze medal, and the Finns scored 1 in the first end. They actually stole that end. So we'll let you know how the bronze medal game is progressing as well. We've talked about some of the proposed rules changes for mixed doubles that are being played in this tournament. One of the rules changes is the position of the stationary stone in the house. Under the existing rules, that stone would be positioned at the back of the pin. But under the proposed rule change, that stationary stone is now positioned, as you can see, at the back of the 4-foot circle, creating a little bit more area in the scoring zone. Another proposed rule change under the existing rules, the team must have a player in the house while the shooter is throwing. Currently, under this trialed rules change, the team has the option of that player going down to be with the shooter and sweeping the stone immediately, so there is no requirement for the player to be in the house. And the third proposed rule change that we will likely see during the course of this game is the introduction of the power play. And that's where a team, once a game, when they have last rock, to elect a different position for the stationary stones at the beginning of the end. They can't use the power play in the extra end, but they can use it once a game when they have the hammer. So we'll see how the teams decide to use that weapon during the course of this game. Canada's first draw came up a little bit short at the top of the 12-foot, so a bit of an opportunity for the Americans. Sarah Anderson, though, a little bit heavy with her own draw. Kaylin Park sweeps that to the back of the 12-foot. So a bit of a nervous start for this young American team. But as we saw earlier in the day, they've certainly got fantastic shot-making ability. And it might just be a matter of them getting a little bit of confidence and getting on a bit of a roll themselves. Canada 2, USA 0 after one end. Charlie Thomas setting up to throw the out turn. He'll be looking to freeze his stone in front of the American stone at the back of the 4-foot. When we say freeze in curling, that's a shot that comes to rest directly in front of another shot. So this is an attempt to try and neutralize that American stone. Again, this stone looks a little bit heavy. Now it's coming to rest. So the weight was good, but the line wasn't great. So Canada lies 1, but a good opportunity now for the Americans to go on the offense. There's Charlie. And this team, as I said, really struggled at the beginning of the tournament, but has gotten better and better as the tournament has progressed. They were on the brink of elimination. They were playing New Zealand in a tiebreaker game yesterday, and the young New Zealand team pushed Charlie and Kaylin to the brink of elimination. It was really a measurement on the last stone of the game that won the game for Team Canada. But since then, they've been on fire. Here's Corey Dropkin playing the out turn. Trying to respond to that Canadian deuce. Sweeping it hard, trying to keep that stone straighter and get it past the guard. Really well swept by Dropkin. He's past the guard. Now they want to get it into the 4-foot and towards those stones. Tweaking into the button area. Very well swept. Nice shot there from Corey. So there we saw a great example of the athleticism that's needed for mixed doubles curling. Because there's only 2 players on the ice, You're typically sweeping your shot by yourself. So the strength of the individual as both a sweeper and a shooter really comes into play in doubles. It's not a form of the game where you can get away with being unfit, that's for sure. So USA lies 1, Canada lies 2nd shot, USA lies 3rd shot. Charlie Thomas now trying to follow that one down. Say anything you can do, I can do better. He's going to attempt to freeze that stone that Corey just threw. Line and weight, both critical on this kind of shot. Well past the guard. Just watching it now, they know it needs to curl more. Just nudges the American stone, so now a really good opportunity for the Americans. Kaylin and Charlie talking about the angles. We can see by the way that the stones are angled in positions. If the Americans, if Corey can just get to the inside of that blue American stone at the front of the button, he would push his own stone back onto the Canadian blue stone at the back of the 4-foot. America could lie 3. They're probably not thinking about that on this shot, but they would certainly like to be in a position to lie 2 guarded. Let's see what kind of weight Corey plays on this shot. Second end of play here at Audi Quattro Winter Games New Zealand. It's the gold medal match. Wherever you're joining us from around the world, we're glad you're here with us. Dropkin really working it hard. It's all about the line. They need to get past that guard. They're well by the guard. Now they're trying to get to the inside of that blue rock and get a little bit of an inside roll. Very nicely played. I'm not sure if they pushed that Canadian stone far enough back, though, to be 2nd shot, but USA is certainly lying 1. There we see from our overhead camera that yellow American stone right on the silver fern is definitely 1st shot. But the angles are good for Team USA. Great opportunity for them to respond to that first end deuce from the Canadians. So now Charlie Thomas is going to have to make a delicate play. Not sure if he's just trying to corner freeze or if he might be guarding here. There is a possibility that he might just be guarding. Thomas working that one hard, wanting to make sure that they've got the line. Stone coming into the rings, just into the top of the 12-foot circle, so it is an attempted guard. So that tells me that the Canadians think that the Americans are only lying 1 right now. You see that blue Canadian stone behind the brush. There's a great shot. So the yellow stone is lying 1. The Americans are saying, we're going to have to move that Canadian stone somehow if we're going to get 2 or 3. So Thomas and Park saying, we're just going to try to make it really difficult for you to get 2. So USA's line 1. And Canada's saying, that's all you're going to have. Corey Dropkin, however, has got other ideas. Going to try and make a delicate little play past the stone in the top of the 4-foot and just try to nudge it far enough that USA might be lying 2. Really precision here. Just past the stone on the top. Does he make the contact? Oh, that's an excellent shot, and America lies 3. Great little shot there from Corey Dropkin. Precision weight and just nudging that Canadian stone back to the back of the 4-foot. That is classy shooting. So just like that, America really puts the heat right back on Canada. It's amazing how repositioning a stone 2 or 3 inches can totally change the complexion of an end. So the last shot coming up now for Canada. There we see Dropkin and Anderson. They've got an opportunity here. But now Kaylin Park trying the run back. And by the run back, she's going to try and strike her own stone and drive it back towards the American shots. It's all about the line. Makes contact, and very nicely done by Kaylin Park. Removing 2 of the American counters. So USA is lying 1. But by the way that the stones have been left after that really nice run back, the best America is going to be able to do is a draw for 2. So great shot under pressure there from Kaylin Park. She wouldn't have made that shot, America might have had 3 or 4. And what they've done is leave the Americans with a pretty difficult little draw just to score 2. The Americans have 1 in the bank already. They're lying first shot. So Sarah Anderson now playing the outturn, trying to draw for a second point to level this game. Last shot of end number 2. She's not laying a brush to it yet, so she thinks she has enough weight. She wants it to curl as well. Can't afford to over curl, however. Well by the guard. Pushes the American stone back, but however rolls away. So nice defense there from Canada. It looks like a score of 1 to me. So that end changed quite dramatically after Kaylin Park's nice run back. What was looking like a chance for the Americans to score 3 or maybe 4 has turned into a score of 1 for Team USA. So that's a good recovery for the Canadians, really bailing themselves out of trouble. But Team USA is on the board. They've scored their 1, and after 2 ends of play here in the gold medal match at Audi Quattro Winter Games, New Zealand, it's Canada 2, USA 1. As we expected, this gold medal match was going to be a tight battle. But early in the game, it's slight advantage Canada. The players have really enjoyed their time here in Naseby. If you've never been to New Zealand and you're planning a visit, Naseby and Central Otago is a part of the country that you must see. You have to make a bit of an effort to get here, but once you're here, it's a gorgeous part of the country. So play now in end number 3. It's an 8-end contest. We're going for gold. Sarah Anderson trying to draw her own stone into the rings behind the center guard and in front of that Canadian stone at the back of the forefoot, and she's done it perfectly. Really nice shot. Here we see Sarah Anderson, who curls out of the Philadelphia Curling Club. Corey Dropkin is from Duluth, plays at Duluth and Broomstones. And we know this young American team has got a lot of fans back in the USA, and I suspect a few of you are online with us today watching this game. Doubles is a format that I think really does favor the young and athletic, and the American team and the Canadian team are certainly both very athletic and have the full range of shots. Kaylin Park trying to follow that American stone down. Just feathers the American stone and slides her own stone right back through the rings. Dropkin sweeps it all the way to the back of the 12-foot. You are allowed to sweep an opponent's stone once it reaches that center tee line that intersects the house. So that's legal. You can't sweep your opponent's stone before it gets there, though. That's not legal. Olympics has really changed the dynamics of curling internationally and has really made the game explode in participation and having the game being played in different countries. And it's only been this past June that the mixed doubles discipline has been officially added to the Olympics program. And we're immediately seeing responses from countries around the world that are now looking to make an additional investment and really put effort behind the development of this form of the game in their countries. Canada has just appointed legendary Canadian curler Jeff Stoughton to manage their mixed doubles program. And USA already had an established high performance program, and that's now been broadened to include the mixed doubles discipline. And countries everywhere are now recognizing that there is Olympic gold to be had in mixed doubles curling. And as a result, we're seeing more support, better coaching, more events, and this form of the game is growing quickly. Here's Charlie Thomas. Again, we've talked about his ability to throw the big takeout weight as a weapon, and here we see him trying to do exactly that by the guard. He's trying to remove both of those American stones. He's removed one of them. It was going to be a pretty difficult double. The angles weren't great for him, so America's still line one. However, Canada does have last rock. Here's Corey Dropkin. We said this American team finished 6th at the World Mixed Doubles Curling Championships in Sochi, Russia this past April. And that may not sound very impressive, but when you consider that the mixed doubles field at World Championships was, I believe, a 28-team competition, that's actually quite a creditable finish. Playing the out turn. See the stone coming towards that center guard. Dropkin sweeping it to try and keep the line so he doesn't crash that guard. He's by the guard. Well done. Now looking to it to come behind the guard. Well, pretty good shot there from Dropkin. The angles will be interesting. Will Charlie Thomas be able to throw another one of his rockets? The yellow stones belong to Team USA. Blue stones belong to Team Canada. Looking where Kaylin Park has got her brush positioned at the target end. Looks to me like Charlie is going to try and run back that center guard, which represents the danger for Team Canada right now. So the rocket is away. Trying to hit this stone and drive it back into the pile. Hits one, drives two, kills two. Great stop there from Charlie Thomas. Totally rearranges stones in the forefoot. USA still lies one, but things are considerably opened up for Team Canada as a result of that shot. So Corey Dropkin, what will we do in response, says Team USA. Momentum is the kind of thing in sports that's really difficult to define, and the Americans in the back of their minds will be thinking, we don't want Canada to score two here. You don't really want to be 3 points adrift this early in the contest. Rock solid balance there from Dropkin as he throws the out turn. Trying to come around that center guard, get another one of their own into the rings. A little bit of a redirect off his own stone, splitting the stones, and America lies first and second shot. Thomas and Park look at the situation. Look to me like Charlie wants to hit that stone where Kaylin's got her brush and roll his stone behind that center guard himself. Curling and call that a hit and roll. I hope you're enjoying this live web streaming of the Audi Quattro Winter Games New Zealand gold medal final. It's Team USA versus Team Canada. We're in end number 3. Canada's leading this one 2-1. They have last rock in this end, and now Charlie Thomas is trying to eliminate an American shot. He's got contact. He's got the inside roll, not quite behind the guard. A good attempt there, though, from Charlie Thomas. He got the hit. He got the roll. He would have liked it to roll another foot. Then he would have had cover behind that center guard. So good attempt there from Thomas. But that American shot should still be available, the Canadian shot rather, should still be available to Sarah Anderson. Getting down to the business end here of end number 3. This is the final shot for Team USA on this end. Canada's got the hammer, so Kaylin Park will have one to come. So Sarah Anderson, she'll be asked to throw the out turn. Going to try to remove that Canadian stone. Not sure if she wants to leave her stone sitting exactly where that shot is, though. Might give Canada a chance for a double takeout. But first things first, she needs to remove this Canadian rock. Up quickly to sweep her own stone if necessary. Corey Dropkin calling the line. The line is critical on this shot. Will she jam her stone at the back? There's one. Does she stick around? It does jam the stone at the back, and the Canadian stone stays on the back 12 foot. So it's not quite disaster, but it's a bad result for the Americans and a good opportunity for Canada. Sarah was a little wide or a little heavy. Hard to tell with that stone. She was really trying to hit that stone on the nose or on the inside. Instead, she hit it on the outside. And the result was she rolled out herself. And even worse, she jammed the Canadian shot onto another stone at the back of the house. So now Kaylin Park, if she can remove this shot and leave her own undisturbed, Canada can get their 2-point end. So can the Canadians make the most of this opportunity? Throwing the in turn. Charlie Thomas comes out quickly to sweep if necessary. So Kaylin Park's got the responsibility of calling the line. Not laying a brush to it yet. She's got contact, but does she get 2 or will she jam her own at the back? No, yes she does. So it's only a 1-point score to Canada. Kaylin Park removed the American stone, but that needed to occur more than it did for the Canadians to score 2. So it's a small moral victory to Team USA. Canada scores 1 and they go out to a 3-1 lead, but it could have been much worse for Team USA. And we see Charlie and Kaylin discussing that. It's a bit of an opportunity lost for Team Canada. A bit of a let-off for Team USA. Regulation play is 8 ends in this format of the game. And we're approaching the halfway point. We're about to start end number 4. Had a quick chat with Team USA before the game, and both of the players just wanted to say good day to all of their friends and family, not only in the USA, but from all around the curling world. Team Canada, of course, there's 2 Canadian teams here at this competition. The field at Winter Games New Zealand has been absolutely outstanding this year. Audi Quattro Winter Games New Zealand is going from strength to strength. Thomas and Park are the current Canadian mixed doubles champions. And the other Canadian team, Wayne and Kim Tuck, were the prior year's Canadian national champions. And so the teams that are coming to this competition are genuinely the best in the world. So nice shot there from Kaylin Park. There's Charlie Thomas sizing it up. It's quite an interesting point in the game now. The game is pretty finely poised. Canada is leading by 2, but the Americans could score 2 of their own in this 4th end. We'd go to the halfway point of the game all tied. If the Canadians could steal this end, it would get them to the halfway point of the game with a big advantage. Let's see what's going to happen. Here's Sarah Anderson. Sarah's really working this one hard. That tells me the line is a bit tight. Have to get past that center guard, sweeping it to try and make the stone curl less. Really well swept. She's by the guard, but because of that sweeping, it's going deeper in the house than they'd like. Pushes her own stone to the back of the forefoot. So that was a situation where, for weight, Sarah really didn't want to sweep that rock, but because of the line, she had to. Without the sweeping, that stone would have curled more than it did and would have crashed into that center guard. So sweeping can't slow a rock down. What sweeping does is create some friction. It reduces the amount of deceleration, which sounds a bit technical, but the net effect is that the rock goes further, but it also goes straighter. Here's Charlie Thomas. Thomas brushing. Says, I think it's got enough weight, Kaylin. How's the line? Brushes it into the button area, and that is pretty close to perfect. Great shot there from Charlie Thomas. That's a freeze, positioning his stone directly in front of the opponent's stone. And by doing that, it makes it very difficult to play a takeout shot without killing your own. So in this format of the game, where the stationary stone starts behind the tee line, a freeze can be an excellent defensive shot. So now we see how Team America plans to respond. They look to be making a play on that Canadian stone at the top of the forefoot. But there's a lot of traffic in the forefoot. We'll see what happens. Trying to remove one of the Canadian stones and maybe more than one. Let's see where the angles go. He's by the guard, clips one just past the other stone. I think they were hoping for a little bit of a clip on that second American rock, or Canadian rock as well. Corey's looking a bit disappointed there. They were, I think, just wanting to slightly get some separation between those two stones on the button, but instead he drove the stone past them. So it's Canada lying one, USA lying second shot directly behind. Canada line third shot, America line fourth shot. But now this is a pretty good opportunity for the Canadians to really apply the heat. We said earlier in the end, this game was finally poised. So this could be a big moment in the game. Can the Canadians really grab this game by the scruff of the neck right here and now? Or can Team USA get themselves right back into the contest? Thomas throwing the guard, bringing it into the top of the forefoot. That's a very aggressive play and a nice shot there from Charlie Thomas. So there we see from our overhead, the blue stones belong to Team Canada, the yellow stones belong to Team America. And Corey and Sarah are looking at it and saying, this doesn't look good. Corey Dropkin heads to the shooting end. Remember, in mixed doubles, one player throws the first and fifth shot at the ends. The other player throws the second, third, and fourth shot. Now this is really just an attempt for Team USA to reposition those stones in the house, because right now it's pretty ugly for them. They'll probably lose their own shot at the back of the button, but they have to make some kind of a play on the Canadian rocks. But first they got to get by the guard. Is he by the guard? No, he crashes the front guard. So Team USA was just trying to skirt by that guard with takeout weight and eliminate at least one of the Canadian counters, but disastrously a little bit narrow and crashing the front guard. And now a fantastic opportunity for the Canadians to really lock this end away. Canada's already lying one. The USA is lying second shot, but by throwing another guard here, or positioning the stone defensively, Canada's got a really good opportunity to steal. And curling a steal is when you score when you don't have last rock advantage. And if Team Canada can do that here, they'll go to the halfway point in this gold medal final at the Audi Quattro Winter Games in a really strong position. And you see the clean release from Canadian male player Charlie Thomas. Kaylin and Charlie are from the province of Alberta in Canada. Playing the guard, so that's a defensive shot. Trying to protect their stone on the button, and they've done exactly that. So now Team USA is looking at the angles and saying, how do we move that stone? There's Kaylin Park saying, nice guard, Charlie. And you can see Corey Dropkin tapping that yellow stone of the Americans on the top of the 8 foot, saying, we're going to have to use our own. There we see Sarah looking at the angle. So Team USA is going to try and promote their own yellow stone, drive it into one of the Canadian blue shots in an attempt to try and open up the button somehow for their last shot. Tough shot though. The angles are really good for Canada, not so good for Team USA. Playing the in-turn. Trying the angle raise. Angle is critical. Makes contact, drives it. Removes one Canadian stone, but Canada is still lying one. You see that blue Canadian stone right on the button. There's Kaylin Park. And Canada is going to try and consolidate that stone by guarding it yet again. And saying to Team USA, how are you going to get us out of there? Right now, about the only way to get that blue stone out of the center is probably with a crane. And unfortunately for the Americans, use of cranes isn't legal either. So here's Kaylin Park. Last Canadian stone of end number 4. It's an 8-end contest. You're watching live web streaming of the Audi Quattro Winter Games New Zealand Gold Medal Final. Team USA versus Team Canada. And here's Team Canada really trying to lock the gate. Throwing a guard stone, taking away the possibility of the Americans to promote their own. And now if you're Team USA, what do you do? Thomas and Park, their work is done for the end. Now they can only watch what the Americans do in response. But this might be one of these situations where no matter what you do, you can only make it worse. So the Americans are really looking to me like they're just going to throw this one away and concede 1 point to the Canadians. Because if they made a play on that stone in the middle, it does run the risk that they could actually make it worse and give the Canadians more than one. So let's see what Sarah's actually throwing here. Yes, she is just throwing it away. So the Americans are saying, well, well played, Canada. We're going to give you the steal of 1, but we don't give them more than that. So it's a steal of 1 to Canada. And Canada does grab this game by the scruff of the neck, and that gives them a 4-1 lead at the 4th end break of this game. So that was a really, really interesting first half of the game. Canada has just had the better of this one so far. They opened the game with a great score of 2 in the first. The Americans rebounded with 1 of their own in the second. The Canadians scored 1 in the third. And a big, big steal of 1 here in the fourth. Gives Team Canada a 4-1 lead halfway through this contest. Updating you with the status of our bronze medal match. It's Japan versus Finland. Japan is leading that one 3-2 after the 3rd end of play, and they've just completed end number 4 as well, so we'll just await the officials to let us know what the score was on that end. But that's a very, very close contest. So the teams will have a short 5-minute break after this 4th end of play, and the ice will be regroomed. The teams will be discussing their tactics for the last half of the game. As we mentioned, the mixed doubles discipline has now been added to the Olympic family. So the way that the countries will qualify into the Olympics in 2018 will be based on performances at the World Mixed Doubles Championships in 2016 and 2017. The next Mixed Doubles Worlds will be held in Karlstad, Sweden. And countries will accumulate ranking points based on their placings at those competitions. 8 countries will compete in the first Winter Olympic Mixed Doubles competition. Host nation Korea gets a place, of course, being the host country. And the other 7 countries' places will be determined by their rankings at the Worlds at 2016 and 2017. And just about all of the players at this Audi Quattro Winter Games competition will be having an eye on the Olympics as their goal for the next 2 or 3 years. I'm almost certain of that. It's a tremendous opportunity for athletes in this discipline to really showcase what they can do on the biggest of all sporting stages. Wherever you're joining us in the world today, we're glad you're with us. Curling fans in North America that are watching their teams, it's getting quite late in the evening for you, so if you're staying up late to stay with us here, it's late in the afternoon here in New Zealand. But we're glad you're with us, and we hope you're enjoying what is a really fantastic curling competition. If you're in Asia, it's just after lunchtime, and so if you're skiving off work and watching this at your desk, no problem. We'll write a note to your boss and say it's okay. And if you're watching us in Europe, we're delighted that you're with us as well. Of course, we know that curling fans in New Zealand and Australia are watching the broadcast because we're getting your input through the games, and we're really, really glad that you're enjoying it. This indoor curling facility in the town of Naseby is now just about 10 years old. It was opened in 2005, and so this facility has just celebrated its 10th anniversary. The town of Naseby has got unbelievably good recreational facilities for a town its size. Not only does it have this world-class curling facility, it's also got an outdoor ice skating rink, a natural luge, cricket pitch, tennis courts, golf course, some of the best mountain biking around. So it's a wonderful place for recreation and beautifully peaceful. And at this time of the year, incredibly picturesque. Well, at any time of the year, really. But with a bit of snow on the hills, it looks priceless. The central Otago area of New Zealand, of course, is where the traditional natural ice outdoor version of the game is played. They call that the bonspiel. And nature's conditions were supportive this year. A bonspiel was held recently right here in Naseby. And that's a real treat for traditional curlers who enjoy the 21-end format that gets played outdoors only on natural ice, and so obviously only when Mother Nature permits that. But back to the action now here at the Audi Quattro Winter Games gold medal match here. The grand finale, 12 teams started, and now just 2 teams remain with the possibility of taking away the title. Team USA versus Team Canada. We talked about the rules changes that are being trialed here at this competition, and we talked about the power play, and the Americans have elected the power play in this end. They get 1 per game, and we can see that the stationary stone positioning is different. Instead of being on the center line, it's positioned in a corner guard position, and immediately now the Americans have an opportunity as Kaylin Park slides her attempted draw through the house. And so now the Americans have got a real chance to capitalize on their power play opportunity. Kaylin wasn't really expecting that kind of pace on that shot, I don't think. That can often happen after a halfway break. The ice doesn't get totally reconditioned, but it does get swept with a sheepskin brush. And sometimes after the break, the ice has got just that little tiny bit more pace on it than you expect. And that might have been what happened to Kaylin on that shot. Regardless, good opportunity for Team USA, and they need it. They're down 3. Canada leading this one 4-1. It's an 8-end contest. At stake, the gold medal at Audi Quattro Winter Games 2015. Team USA electing the power play here in end number 5. Takeout shots cannot be thrown until the 5th shot of the end, so early in the end, an opportunity for teams to position stones for use later in the end. So America now attempting to throw a 2nd corner guard. And we'll see what Canada does in response. There's Anderson and Dropkin. Charlie Thomas calling down the ice to Kaylin Park, letting her know what kind of weight he's planning to throw. Communications between the players is critical in this form of the game. Really important that both players know what you're trying to play. Trying to make a play on the shot block, so she's trying to draw around the guard. Ticks the guard and repositions it into the front of the 12-foot. So that was a situation where the Canadians were happy with one of 2 outcomes. Plan A might have been to come around the guard and push the American stone back, but equally the Canadians are just as happy to reposition that corner guard and open up the shot. So now will the Americans take advantage of that corner guard that they placed themselves? Looks to me like Corey Dropkin is going to throw an attempted out-turn draw, trying to come around that center guard that was just put up. Team USA trying to use the power play to their advantage. They'd like to score 2 in this end and get themselves back in the game. Still plenty of time for the Americans to get back in this one, but quite important that they score at least 1 on this end and ideally more. So Dropkin on the attempted come around. He'd like to hide behind that guard of his own. Well by the guard. Now they really want it to curl and bury. Dropkin sweeping it, trying to get that last bit of curl. So America lies 2. The big question is, how much protection do they have from that corner guard? Seem to go well by the guard, and so the Canadians think that they can make a play at the shot. So we know that the stone isn't perfectly buried. It might be a quarter buried. But that means that Charlie Thomas can probably see about 3/4 of the rock from the hack position. So Canada's going to try and make a play. There we see from the player's perspective, playing the out turn. Has to get by the corner guard, trying to make a play on that stone in the 4-foot. Waiting for that stone to curl, so the guard isn't a problem. They're well by the guard. Does he make contact? Just makes contact, pushes the American stone to the back of the 12-foot, but crucially, the American stone stays in the back of the rings, and America lies 2. So a bit of an error there from Team Canada. Thomas was trying to hit that American stone and remove it from play, but instead they leave it in the back of the house, and here's that chance. It's one of those moments in the game for Team USA where you can punish a mistake. You're not going to get very many of them. Team USA using their power play. They get 1 use of the power play per game. They're using it here on the 5th. And a great chance for Team USA if they can make another come around and get 1 behind that corner guard. Super chance for the Americans to get 2, maybe 3. There we see the hacks. It's kind of like a starting block for a sprinter. Gives the players some grip as they push themselves forward. Players have to release the stone near that red hog line. There we see the hog line. But the players are allowed to slide as far as they like, but they have to let go of the stone before it gets to that red hog line. So Corey Dropkin trying the out-turn draw again, trying to come around that corner guard and bury his stone in behind it. So they're by the guard. Now will it bury? Waiting for it to curl and now sweeping it to try and get more curl into the top of the 8-foot, and USA lies 3. Nice shot there from Corey Dropkin. See Kaylin Park holding her brush over the stone, asking Charlie, how much can you see? Do we throw a takeout or do we have to play something else? And it looks to me like the answer to that question is something else. So nice shot by Corey Dropkin. He's buried enough that the Canadians don't really want to make a play on that shot. So they're going to play a hit on this other stone and try to roll their own stone behind the pile. Big weight there from Charlie Thomas. He's got the hit. Does he have the roll? There's the roll. Rolls across the button into the back of the 4-foot. Dropkin sweeping it back to the house into the back of the 8-foot. So nice shot there from Charlie Thomas. He's cut the Americans down. USA lies 1, but by his own stone staying in the back of the 8-foot, he's counted out that other American stone at the back of the 12. So still a good opportunity for Team USA to score 2, but that reduces their chances of maybe scoring 3 or more. Very nice shot there from Charlie Thomas. But the power play is still on for Team USA. Every shot is a calculation between risk and reward. And at this point in the end, the Americans are saying, do we really gamble and try to score 3? Or do we play it a little bit more conservatively and be quite happy to score our 2? And that's their shot choice right now. Corey Dropkin playing the intern. Big moment in this match. It's the gold medal match here at the Audi Quattro Winter Games New Zealand mixed doubles curling event. He's by the guard. Now he's sweeping it into the rings. Can he get by his own and into the back of the American one? Great shot there from Dropkin. So USA lies first and second and fourth shots now. Nice shot there from Corey Dropkin. And if that would have been another foot heavier, then the Americans might be lying 3. As it is, they're lying 2, and the angles are good. So pressure really now on Canadian player Kaylin Park. So we've talked about the innovative rules changes that are being trialed at Winter Games New Zealand. One of them is the power play. The Americans elected their power play in this end, and we're about to see if it's going to pay off for them. Kaylin Park playing the intern. USA lying first and second shot. Canada trying to cut them down. Looks like an attempted freeze by Park. Trying to draw her own stone back to the American stone at the back of the 8 foot. But it needs to curl and needs to have perfect weight. Weight looks good. How's the line? Maybe a little bit wide. Very difficult to tell from that overhead shot. But there's an opportunity here for the Americans to score 3. The big question is, are they already lying 2? If you knew for certain that you're already lying 2, you'd simply draw and take your 3rd point. But if that blue Canadian stone is counting 2nd position, then the Americans will want to try and just push it back maybe a couple of inches, and they could score their 3. So we saw Sarah Anderson make some incredible shots in the semi-final game to really rocket the Americans into this gold medal final, and here's another one of those moments. Big shot here for the Americans. An opportunity to score 3, but a really delicate shot. The line has to be perfect and the weight has to be perfect. No tolerance for error here at all. They're not brushing it at all, so I don't think she likes the line. Will it curl enough? No, she drives it onto the American stone, and USA only scores 1. Big disappointment for USA there. They had an opportunity to tie up the match, but a little bit wide and a little bit heavy, and unfortunately the Americans only score 1. So the US gambled. They used their power play. It nearly paid off. They had their chance. They had an opportunity to score 3. A really delicate shot, though. But the Americans close it up. It's now Canada 4, USA 2 after 5 ends of play. So disappointment there for the US. That was a chance. That was the chance to get themselves level. The other shot option for the Americans on that last shot would have been just to draw for a 2nd point. But even though it didn't come off for them, I think the shot choice that they made was the right one. You don't get many opportunities in a game to score 3. So even though the degree of difficulty on the shot was higher than a straight draw, it was definitely worth the try. But as they say, that's history now. And the Americans take play now into end number 6. Since they scored in the 5th end, now last rock advantage switches to the Canadians. So Sarah Anderson leads off this end of 6, and she's just trying a come-around draw. It'll be interesting to see how the Americans respond after obviously being disappointed from not scoring their 3. And Sarah responds in just about the best way possible with a really excellent shot. The Canadians, though, now will be aware that this is their chance to really put one hand on the trophy, so to speak. If they can score in this end, that will really give them strong control of the game. Kaylin Park just trying to follow that one down. Really sweeping it, but the stone's coming to rest about halfway. So USA lies 1, 2 center guards, and that's good news for the Americans. USA will be quite happy to have guards in play. They're trailing, so that puts them into gambling mode now. Corey Dropkin, there we see Kaylin and Charlie. Very even-keeled players. Corey Dropkin. Let's see what they plan to do. Will they try and draw a second stone in for second shot? Or will they just try to consolidate the one that they've already got? Still quite early in the end, so it wouldn't surprise me if the Americans wouldn't try to get another one in there. Dropkin really working this one hard. Anderson comes out to join him. They'd like to bring this into the house. Comes to rest, just biting that blue 12-foot circle. I think Corey would have liked that one up into the 4-foot, but it's still a useful stone. Takes away some of the access to the shot rock for the Canadians. So now it's the 5th delivered stone of the end, so hitting rocks is legal. So Canada is going to say, well, let's just try to open up some access into the 4-foot for ourselves. Charlie Thomas is going to try and clear at least one of these center guards. Big weight coming here from Thomas. Rock is on its way. Fasten your seatbelts. Bang, 1, 2, and rockets them past the center stone. So that's kind of an interesting result for the Americans. They still have a guard. There's 2 Canadian stones on now the right-hand side of our picture. They're not really a factor, but they do block the path to the red 4-foot circle. So that takes the play to the intern side of the sheet. So it's a bit of a choice now for the Americans. You could elect to try and promote your own stone that's in the front of the 12-foot into the 4-foot. Or you might just say, we're at a point in the game now where stealing one would be really good. It would bring us within 1, and so instead of gambling and pushing another one into the house, maybe we'll just guard it. Let's see what Corey is electing to do. Wherever you are in the world, we're really glad that you're with us. You're watching the gold medal game at the Audi Quattro Winter Games New Zealand mixed doubles curling event. It's a North American battle. Canada 1 versus USA for all the marbles. Canada's leading this one 4-2. But the Americans are looking pretty good here, even though they don't have last rock. Dropkin trying to promote that stone, it looks like, but just hits it on an angle. So that was the risk for Team USA. I think they were trying to promote that one straight back into the button area. Instead, a little bit heavy and hit the top one quite thin, and the net result is it opens up the shot rock. So before that shot, the Canadians didn't have a path into the button, but now they do. So instead of throwing the big takeout weight this time, a think we'll see Charlie Thomas throwing a draw. His target point for this shot will be right on the center pin. Playing the in-turn. There we see we're in the 6th end of play. 8 ends in this contest. If the scores are tied after 8, we'll go to an extra end. Trying the freeze, not laying a brush to it, so that tells me that they need it to curl. Now he's paying a bit more attention. Great weight. Would have loved that to curl another half a rock. That's a pretty good shot, but the Americans can still get to it. So a bit of an opportunity here for USA. If Corey Dropkin can throw about back button weight, just hit the inside of that stone that Charlie Thomas just threw, get a little bit of a roll on top of his own shot, then America could lie 2, at least half guarded. So in the last end, we talked about the opportunity that the Americans had to score 3 that they didn't convert. Let's see if the Americans can convert this opportunity. Dropkin on the in-turn. Trying to just nudge that Canadian shot rock back in the house, but more importantly, roll his own stone into a guarded position behind that yellow stone at the top of the house. First he has to make contact, however. There's the nudge, pushes it back, and USA lies 2. That's a pretty good result for Corey. Probably would have liked it to curl just a fraction more than it did, but it's not bad. The angles are good now for Canada, or for the USA rather. Difficult for Canada. There we can see on our overhead the yellow stones belonging to the USA. One on the front of the button, one on the back of the button. The difficulty for the Americans in removing those is if you drive one yellow stone directly onto the other yellow stone, it'll just stay there. So the point of contact on this one is critical. We have seen in this game how Charlie Thomas can throw the stone really, really hard and really, really accurately. So I would say watch for the vapor trail. Stone's on its way. Trying to eliminate at least one of the American stones. Hold on. 1, 2, and they're flying. Totally rearranging the button area, and Canada lies 1. So once again, we see that big takeout weight as a weapon. Tough shot there for Charlie Thomas, but just by throwing it hard and hitting the stone in a relatively good spot, totally repositions all the stones in the house. So still a chance here for the Americans. We can see from the overhead that Canada lies 1, but the Americans are lying 2nd and 3rd shot. So if Sarah can make a hit and roll by hitting that blue stone and rolling her own stone into the center, there is still a chance for the Americans to steal the end. The difficulty for Sarah, though, is on the hit and roll. If she hits on the inside, there is a risk that she could jam the Canadian stone onto her own rock. So playing the delicate in-turn hit and roll. Stone is approaching the rings, not brushing it yet. So it's not curling enough. She hits the outside of the rock, removes the Canadian stone, but rolls out herself. So that makes the task of the last rock for Kaylin Park an awful lot easier. Sarah was really trying to hit that stone on the other side and roll her own stone behind the guards. Instead, she removes the Canadian rock, but rolls to the outside herself and loses her shooter. Well, these shots are far from automatic. America does lie 2. Kaylin Park is simply trying to draw into the rings closer than those American stones to count 1 point. We saw in the 5th end that Kaylin was heavy on a draw. Not wishing her ill will at all, but as I said, these shots aren't automatic. But this isn't a particularly difficult shot, but you still have to make it. Kalen Park drawing against 2 to try and save the end for Canada. Last rock here on end number 6 at the Audi Quattro Winter Games gold medal final. Park sweeping it now, and Thomas coming out to join her. They're a bit worried about it being light. Have they got enough weight to get it in there for shot? Thomas is really working it. They need to get it full into the 8-foot circle. Has they got it there? No, the Canadians seem to be coming short, and the Americans are going to steal at least 1 and maybe 2. So it's a steal of 1 to the Americans. Looking at it, I would say it's only 1, but it's a steal nonetheless. So the Canadians come up short. The players are signaling for the officials. So the Americans are saying, yeah, we'd like to measure that. But we know it's 1 in the bank already. And the officials will come out to measure those 2 stones to determine which one is closest to the middle. Now they're kicking them off. So rather than asking for the measurement, they seem to have settled on a score. But we talked about that draw shot not being automatic, and it certainly wasn't. Kalen Park trying to draw into the full 8-foot circle to score a point, coming up just that little bit light, and the Americans do get their steal. So it's game on. Canada still leads it 4-3, but it's a steal of 1 to the Americans, and they're in this game. Canadians will carry last rock into the 7th end, and so now it's a big decision for them. The Canadians still have the power play up their sleeve. They've got last rock. This might be the opportunity they decide to use it. Kalen and Charlie were conversing, and so they'll need to decide if they want to use their power play or not. They're still discussing it, even though Corey Dropkin has set the stationary stones in place. That doesn't necessarily mean that the Canadians haven't elected their power play. No, Charlie Thomas is stopping, and so the Canadians will not use their power play. That means the Canadians still have the power play up their sleeve for use in the 8th end if they still have last rock. So it's a pulsating contest now here in the Audi Quattro Winter Games gold medal match here in the mixed doubles. USA versus Canada. USA back in the game with a big steal of 1 in the 6th. Canada still leads at 4-3. Canada's got last rock. Sarah Anderson a little bit heavy there with that attempted freeze. So the Canadians have got an opportunity now. Kalen Park. A very difficult thing to do as a competitive curler after you've had a miss is to put that out of your mind, reset, and make the next shot. So that's exactly what Kalen will be trying to do right now. Can't get that last one back, so make the next one. Playing the out turn. Well, she's going nowhere near it, so I don't think she's that happy with it. She's coming up to have a look at it now. Stone coming in, it's looking pretty decent. Maybe a tiny bit heavier than she would have liked, but that's a pretty good shot. So blue stones belonging to Canada. First and second. Americans lying third. And then we see Kalen and Charlie having a smile, trying to figure out what's going on. We're getting to the business end of the contest. 8 ends to play. We're in play, it's in end number 7 now. So we're coming up to the end game of this game. Quick update from our bronze medal match between Finland and Japan. Finland has really grabbed control of that game. They lead that one 7-3 after the 6th end. So Finland trying to come away with a Audi Quattro Winter Games medal of their own. Looking pretty good. But back to our feature match, USA versus Canada. This is the gold medal contest. Corey Dropkin trying to freeze his stone in front of those Canadian rocks. Really sweeping it. They don't want to have a gap. They'd love to freeze it right in front of that stone if they can, sweeping it really hard, and that's a nice, nice shot. Great sweeping there from Dropkin. The stone is in a good position. Charlie Thomas immediately says, yeah, that's too good. We'll just get rid of that center guard. So that tells me that the game plan for Canada for this end is just score. Canada's not really worried about trying to get 2 or 3. But what they definitely do not want to do is let the Americans steal. So that means that Thomas will just try to clear this center guard, open up the path into the button area. And he executes it perfectly, removing the center guard. So now there are no guards in play, but plenty of stones in the back of that 4-foot circle. So the challenge now for Team USA, you have to make 3 perfect guards. You've got shot rock now. Now it's all about protection. So after that nice freeze on his last shot, now Corey's going to try to throw it about 10 or 12 feet lighter. Try to have his stone come to rest in the guard position somewhere in front of the house, but directly in front of his shot rock. You can call that a guard. Great crowd on hand here for the gold medal final. They're really enjoying the skills that are being shown by these teams. We've had great play all week here at the Audi Quattro Winter Games Mixed Doubles Tournament. As I said, 12 teams from around the world and some of the best. We've got 3 of the world's top 10 teams here. So the quality of play has been really, really high. Dropkin attempting the guard. The line of the stone is crucial. They wanted to sit right in front of their own rock and defend it. And that looks like a pretty good result to me. So the USA defending their shot rock with the guard. There we see the American stone right on the button. 2 Canadian stones right behind it. That makes it very difficult for the Canadians to remove it. But the first thing that the Canadians have to deal with is this guard. So we saw Charlie Thomas make the perfect peel on his last shot, removing the center guard. He's going to try and do it again. Like clockwork, a second perfect peel from Charlie Thomas, removing that center guard. So decision time for the Americans. Do you throw another center guard, or do you make some other kind of play? You see Sarah Anderson, she's tapping the ice right in front of their shot rock. So one possible play for the Americans here would be to freeze another stone directly on top of their shot rock to lie 2. The other, perhaps more conservative and traditional play would be just to simply throw the guard on the center line and just replace the one he just threw. The danger with trying to freeze on your own shot is if you're a little bit heavy and you jostle those stones around, you give an opportunity for the Canadians just to hammer them and clear them all out of play. Remember, we said the Canadians aren't interested in scoring more than 1, but they do want to score. So a sign here that the Americans are inclined to gamble a little bit and not just steal 1, but maybe steal 2. Let's see where Dropkin tries to put this one. Well, this one's really curling. It's already at the center line, so as a guard, it's already over curled. Americans won't like this one very much. It's coming to rest. I wonder if that stone picks something up, because that's quite unusual. It's either an attempted freeze or an attempted guard, but it's over curled. So that yellow shot rock on the button is visible now to the Canadians. We can see Charlie Thomas patting his brush right there, saying, we can just freeze it. see from Kaylin's brush position, Charlie's not intending to draw to it, and he's going to whack it. So Thomas will try to hit that American stone, 3/4 on the outside, and if he hits it right about where Kaylin's got her brush, pretty good chance that they will all go out of the house. Let's see. It's by the guard, and there they go. Great shot there from Charlie Thomas. Exactly what the Canadians wanted. So the Americans still have an opportunity to put some heat on the Canadians. If Sarah can draw one around that center guard into the top of the 4-foot, they can still put the pressure on for Kaylin Park's last shot. So still an opportunity for the Americans here to steal the end. But we talked early in the end about the challenge for the Americans would be to throw 3 perfect guards. Well, they threw 2 perfect guards, but the third one wasn't perfect, unfortunately, and it gave the Canadians that opportunity to blast. So the Americans all out for the gamble on the steal. Trying to draw her stone around that guard, behind that guard. Looks to be well past the guard. Now it's a question of the weight, and they do want it to curl because they need some protection from that guard. They're well past it. It's not really curling. We're moving a little bit now. Gets it to the button, and the USA lies 1. So a pretty good attempt there from Sarah Anderson. I think they would have liked it to curl maybe another half a rock, but again, it puts the pressure on Kaylin Park. The USA does lie 1 and 2. And when you're looking at 2, there are no easy shots. But that shot rock is visible. So Kaylin Park will try to remove that stone and leave her own stone sitting in the 4-foot and score 1. Very tight brush line here, so it'll be interesting to see how much weight she's playing. Quite a lot. This is not a down weight shot. She's not looking to brush it yet, so now the big question will be, will it stick around? No, she blows right past it, and my goodness, it's another steal of 1 to the Americans. Well, well, well. That was a really interesting shot choice for me. A lot of weight being thrown, so I'm not sure if she thought she could somehow make a double takeout and score 2, but regardless, the net result is we are tied. The Americans steal again, and after 7 ends of play, we go into the 8th and final end, and this one is all tied up. So now we see the tactics of these new proposed rules coming into play. Now we see the Canadians use their power play. We speculated on the 7th end that the Canadians might use their power play to give themselves a lead going into the 8th. They didn't. The Americans stole that end. But now we see the Canadians electing to use the power play formation in the 8th end so that they can score their 1 point, which would give them the gold medal. You're watching live web streaming all around the world here at the Audi Quattro Winter Games New Zealand. It's the gold medal match of the mixed doubles curling event. Charlie Thomas and Kaylin Park from Canada against Corey Dropkin and Sarah Anderson from the USA. Couldn't be tighter. Scores are level at 4, and we're playing the 8th end. Pretty unlikely that we're going to see an extra end. Whoever scores in this end will be your Audi Quattro Winter Games champion. So with the Canadians electing the power play, this first stone of the Americans is absolutely critical, and they elect to use a center guard. Sarah Anderson makes it perfectly. The Americans will hope to be able to use that center guard later in the end for protection. They'll try to draw around that into the button area and try to steal their way to the victory. Wow, what an amazing momentum shift in this game. At the halfway break, the Canadians were pretty close to home and hose, but they were up 3. But the Americans have come roaring back. Had a disappointment in the 5th end with an opportunity to score 3. They only scored 1, but since then they've stolen ends 5 and 6, rather 6 and 7. The net effect of all of that is this game is tied. So let's see how Canada plays this one. How are they going to try and defend? Kaylin Park goes past the center guard and all the way through the rings. So she might have been trying some kind of a little tick shot to try and reposition that guard, but it blows by everything. So Canada electing the power play, keeping the stones away from the center line. That means the Americans have to build their own defense system, and they have done just that. So here we go. Corey Dropkin with a great opportunity to use that center guard. If he can get one around there into the front of the button with protection, then it becomes a situation much like the last end where the Americans will try to defend that rock all the way to the end and hopefully steal the gold medal. What a great end to a great tournament. So, big moment here for Dropkin. Trying to draw around that center guard set by his teammate. Pretty happy with the weight. Now they're just worried about the line. They're past the guard. Now they want it to curl and bury behind that guard, and they really would not want to go past the tee line. And there it is, front of the button. Very nicely done. The crowd really appreciated that one. So now Team Canada goes into defense mode. Here we see Anderson and Dropkin. They're doing everything they can to try and generate that one precious point that they'd need to give them the championship. Canada, on the other hand, they're just trying to give themselves a shot for the last shot of the game. So now Charlie Thomas again will try to clear that center guard to open up a path to that shot just thrown by Dropkin. Successfully executes the peel. So much like end number 7, the task now for Team USA will be to try and throw 3 perfect guards. And that stone that's sitting on the front of the button right now represents their opportunity to win this tournament. The challenge will be defending that stone to the death. So this very young American team showing a lot of class here early in their curling careers. They've had international experience. They were 6th ranked at the recent World Mixed Doubles Championship. But this is a different story. I mean, this is with the title on the line. Corey Dropkin and Sarah Anderson, both just 20 years of age. How will they respond to this tension and this pressure? Let's see. Attempting a center guard. Line is everything on this shot. Trying to protect that stone, wanting it to come to rest directly in front of their own rock. Dropkin keeping it clean, now brushing it a little bit, and that's a very nice guard by Corey Dropkin. Very well executed. So that's one of the 3 stones guards that they need. Remember in the last end, they made 2 perfect guards, and then on their 3rd attempt, gave the Canadians an opportunity. And the words of Yogi Berra, this is looking a little bit like deja vu all over again. Charlie Thomas, once again, looking to rip that guard, clear a path for Kaylin Park on her last stone. Attempting to clear the center guard. Wow. A gasp from the crowd. That was very near a double takeout, so he almost removed the American shot, but what he did threw the result of that because he almost hit it on the nose. There's a Canadian stone sitting just off the center line. Not sure if that'll be a factor in the game or not. It might be a stone that the Canadians themselves could use. There we can see the left-hand side of our picture, that Canadian stone just thrown by Thomas. That might be available for an angle raise if there's a desperately needed one for the last shot of the game, but the Americans aren't thinking about that right now. Their job is still to defend that shot. So Corey Dropkin is going to be asked again to throw a center guard, try to replace that stone that Thomas just cleared away. That was so close. Thomas very nearly picked out the American shot rock. Curling is a game of millimeters sometimes. Couldn't be closer. 4-4. Dropkin with the out turn. Right down to the business end of this game. Trying to replace that center guard. Line again is everything. Sarah Anderson giving him direction about the line. Once again, a perfect center guard from Dropkin. So let's see what Charlie Thomas does this time. He'll certainly be asked to clear that guard. That guard came a little bit closer to the rings than the last one. We saw how close Charlie came on his last attempt to clearing the center guard and also killing the shot in the house. Because the distance between the stones is a little bit closer this time, that increases the chance that Charlie can clear the center stone and make a double takeout. But his first task will be to clear the center guard. Charlie Thomas, two-time World Junior champion, current Canadian mixed doubles champion, trying to run back that center stone. Let's see where it goes. Wow! That probably wasn't plan A. He was trying to clear the center guard. Instead, he picks out the shot rock. So that's a great result from Canada, but boy, oh boy. I'm sure their hearts are beating a little bit faster right now. That was very, very close to blowing by everything. So that guard couldn't have been a perfect guard. It obviously left some portion of the shot rock open. Charlie Thomas picked it out, but here's the chance for Team USA. They've played this entire end for this situation. Sarah Anderson now will be asked to throw an out-turn draw to come around that center guard into the top of the forefoot behind that guard to try and steal the game. Canada does have a stone in the ring, so Sarah has to hit at least the 8-foot circle to force the Canadians to try and make that last shot. Big, big pressure shot for a young player like Sarah. Playing the out turn. Here we go. Stone is on its way. She sweeps it immediately. They have to get by the guard. They must get it into the rings. They have to get it into the 8-foot to have a chance. Well, they're by the guard, so now it's a question of the weight. They don't want to oversweep it. Well by the guard. Is it too heavy? Have they overswept the stone? Thomas comes to the tee line to sweep it back, takes it back into the back of the 8-foot, and the Americans do hang on. Wow. So maybe a bit of an experience there from the Americans. They didn't quite panic sweep that one, but they certainly overswept it. So, after 4 days of world-class curling, 12 teams into the event, here we are, the last shot of the Audi Quattro Winter Games New Zealand 2015 gold medal match. Kaylin Park into the hack, trying to make a draw. She has to outcount that American stone into the 8-foot. So here's an opportunity for Canada to win the game and win the Audi Quattro Winter Games New Zealand gold medal. Here we go. It's the out turn. Charlie Thomas coming out immediately to prepare to sweep the rock. Canada just needs full 8-foot to win this game. America trying to steal it. Thomas now sweeping it. It's a question of the weight. Coming into the house now. Thomas likes it. Brooms are going in the air, and there it is. Perfect draw to the tee line by Kaylin Park, and Canada won are your Winter Games, Audi Quattro Winter Games 2015 mixed doubles gold medal champions. What a brilliant, brilliant final. Big high fives from Thomas, saying, I knew you had that all the way, Kaylin. Kaylin Park delivers under a huge, huge pressure situation. And after an enthralling final, there we see our final line score. Canada are your champions. They win this one 5-4. What a fantastic final. Well, you can only proclaim the mixed doubles curling event here at Audi Quattro Winter Games 2015 to be an absolute roaring success. The players loved the proposed rule changes. We've seen world-class shooting. We see there the happy smiles of the gold medalists, Thomas and Park. They're your champions. But boy, oh boy, that young American team of Dropkin and Anderson really made them earn it. Park had to make her last shot of the game, last shot of the tournament, for the Canadians to come away as our champions. Well, wherever you've been in the world, watching us and joining us for our coverage, we've been really glad that you've joined us. On behalf of our entire crew, I'm Hans Fraunlaub. Thank you very much. Goodbye from Naseby.
This is not a dream. This is reality. This is not a test run. This is the moment of truth. This is not a time for doubt. This is a time to take control. The Audi Quattro Winter Games. This is here. This is now.